Look at your own reflection in the mirror, not in the soft, normal way people look at themselves today, but through a cold, honest view like a strict science checker. What you are seeing is not a smooth, natural growing up process. You're watching a very advanced, complicated body slowly breaking itself from the inside out. By the time you reach your third decade, the damage is already easy to notice. Your cells start healing slower. Your joints begin to feel stiff and hurt, even from just existing. Your perfect genetic code starts to glitch, mess up, and slowly break apart. Modern scientists and medical systems try to comfort you by saying this painful change is just how life works. They tell you that human bodies are like machines that slowly wear out over time. But this is a clean, made-up story designed to hide a much more scary truth. If you look at the natural world, this normal story quickly falls apart. The Greenland shark swims in the freezing deep ocean for more than 500 years, without showing any real signs of aging. The giant tortoises of the Galapagos Islands often live longer than whole human families. Their bodies stay stable for almost 200 years. Even some types of jellyfish have a biological system that lets them reset their life cycle again and again, almost becoming immortal. Yet the human body, the one called the most advanced and highest point of evolution on Earth, starts to break down fast and in a painful way after only about 60 years. This is not the result of natural selection. Evolution does not create a super complex and intelligent body just to destroy it before it can even fully understand itself. The fast and painful aging of the human body is not an accident. It is like an artificial built-in genetic kill switch. To understand why humans are stuck with such a short life, we must leave behind the comfortable ideas of modern medicine and look at one of the most controversial and protected ancient records ever found in Mesopotamia, the Sumerian king list, discovered in the early 1900s and quickly pushed aside by the controllers of official history. This ancient clay prism carefully records the rule of kings from before the Great Flood. Mainstream historians quickly say the first part is fake because it clearly talks about kings who ruled for 28,000, 36,000, and even 43,000 years. They expect you to believe the ancient Sumerians, who created advanced math, astronomy, and accounting systems, suddenly started imagining crazy numbers when writing their own royal history. But the original, unedited translations show no fantasy at all. They read like simple, official records. Before a massive genetic downgrade made by the Anunnaki, the original human body did not age. The pre-flood human form was designed to work for tens of thousands of years, fixing its cells perfectly again and again. But the controllers discovered a very scary truth about their new workforce. Time is not just something you measure. It builds knowledge. A human who lives for 100 years barely understands the system controlling them before they die. But a human who lives for 10,000 years gathers huge amounts of knowledge. They learn how the system works. They remember hidden truths of the universe. They see patterns in the fake reality, and sooner or later they realize their own true power. A workforce of immortal and aware beings cannot be controlled. To keep full control of Earth, the Anunnaki scientists had to install a biological safety system. They had to make sure the human body would destroy itself before it could ever gain enough wisdom to challenge the system. They went into the core code of the human DNA and forcefully cut off the system that allows endless cell repair. This massive genetic damage is what modern science wrongly calls the shortening of telomeres. You are not aging because your body is just tired. You are aging because your DNA is running an ancient hidden countdown timer, slowly deleting your physical body so you stay trapped in a cycle of forgetting and rebirth. To really understand how this works, we must look closely at what is happening inside your body. Inside almost every cell, your DNA is tightly packed into structures called chromosomes. At the ends of these strands are protective caps, special parts of DNA known today as telomeres. We are taught by modern biology that these telomeres slowly break down as a normal and unavoidable rate of cell division. They explain that every time your cells copy themselves to heal a cut, grow your skin, or keep your organs working, these caps get slightly shorter. When the telomeres finally run out, the cell can no longer divide. It becomes old and damaged. It starts to poison your body, and eventually you die. The medical system presents this as a sad but beautiful rule of nature. But this is a deep and planned distraction. The shortening of telomeres is not an evolutionary myth. It is a highly advanced artificial code. It is a biological fuse designed to burn out on purpose. Think about the strange contradiction in your own body. You have an immune system so advanced that it can instantly find, remember, and destroy millions of different tiny invaders it has never even seen before. You have a brain that can process the endless geometry of the universe and create a full 3D reality in less than a second. Yet the most basic system needed for survival, the ability for cells to copy correctly, is broken forever. Does it really make sense that evolution, which can build something as complex as the human brain, would forget to create a proper way for cells to keep repairing? It does not. The human body was built perfect, and then it was intentionally broken. The exact record of this massive genetic damage was not lost over time. It is still kept hidden in plain sight inside ancient Akkadian cylinder seals, especially inside the story known as the Epic of Adapa. Modern scholars and controlled religious systems tried to explain this story as a simple lesson about obedience and losing paradise. But when you read it with a more technical and direct view, it starts to look like a detailed biological report. The texts describe Adapa as the first fully successful human, created in underground laboratories in Eridu by the main genetic scientist Enki. Adapa was extremely intelligent, physically perfect, and had a mind almost equal to the gods. But he was missing one very important thing, something that was purposely left out: the ability for endless cellular regeneration. Ancient tablets clearly describe what happened when this perfect human was brought before Anu, the highest leader of the Anunnaki. When Anu saw how powerful this human creation was, he offered Adapa something very important: the bread of life and the water of life. Modern religions have turned these words into simple symbols or spiritual ideas, but in the original context, these were not symbols at all. The water of life was a real biological substance. It was a special enzyme needed to fully stabilize human DNA. It was the activator for telomeres, the exact enzyme that modern science knows can rebuild telomeres and reverse aging. It was the true genetic upgrade for immortality. But the ancient texts reveal something shocking, and Plan.Enki, the same being who created humanity, tricked Adapa. He made sure Adapa refused this upgrade. The enzyme was intentionally kept away. They made a cold and calculated decision to leave the human DNA incomplete. They permanently added the telomere countdown to Marinto human genetics, making sure that every human would grow old and die just as their mind was starting to fully understand reality. This guaranteed that humans would never live long enough to question or fight back against their creators. The slow and painful breakdown of your body is not just a biological problem. It is the base of the entire modern control system. After the Anunnaki left the surface of Earth, they gave control to their chosen managers, the global elite who protect this hidden history. These managers fully understand how the genetic kill switch works. They know your telomeres are always getting shorter, and they have built a massive worldwide system designed to profit from your slow biological collapse. We are trained to see the modern medical system as something that heals and saves lives, a noble fight against aging and disease. But when you look at it more carefully, it starts to look like a system designed to extract energy and resources. They do not want to fully cure aging. A human who does not age would break the entire system. If you knew you could live for 500 years in a young body, you would never agree to spend 30 years paying off a house loan. You would never give away your best years working in a system that drains your energy just to survive later in life. The entire system depends on your fear of running out of time. The elite use the medical system to stretch out the weakest and most painful part of your life, keeping your body barely working while slowly taking all your resources. But the most hidden and powerful secret is this: the water of life is not completely gone. It was never just a liquid you drink. The deeper meaning shows that the enzyme needed to repair your DNA is still inside your body. It is just turned off. Your DNA works like a sensitive antenna, and its activity changes depending on the frequencies around you. The elite understand that if a human enters a state of deep calm and stillness, free from noisy and stress, something important begins to happen. The hidden parts of the DNA start to activate. The body begins to produce the enzyme needed to repair itself. This is why your environment is filled with constant noise, stress, chemicals, and distractions. These things block your body from reaching that natural healing state. They are constantly stopping the signal needed to turn off the aging timer. They fear what would happen if humans remembered how to stop this process. To understand this deeper, we need to look at the ancient practices of silence and isolation. Modern religions teach that monks and spiritual people stayed silent as a way to show devotion to a higher power. They say living in caves or far places was about giving up pleasure to reach heaven. But when you look at it differently, it becomes something else completely. These ancient people were not just being spiritual. They were using a method to change their biology. We now understand that stress, fear, and constant thinking keep your body in a damaged state. The brain, especially the left side, keeps producing worry and fear, releasing stress chemicals into your body. This keeps your DNA tight, defensive, and unable to repair. The ancient Chuls understood this perfectly. They knew the only way to turn the repair system back on was to remove the noise. When you go into full silence and stop constant thinking, you remove the main source of stress. This is like shutting down the system that is damaging you. When the brain stops processing constant words and fear, the body begins to relax deeply. Stress chemicals drop. In this quiet state, your DNA senses that it is safe again. The tight structure begins to loosen. The repair systems start to work again. Your body begins producing the natural enzymes needed to heal. This is not magic. It is a biological process that has been hidden and misunderstood. Every single night, you are given a powerful chance to break this genetic lock. When you close your eyes and get ready to sleep, you are not just turning off a tired body. You are slowly disconnecting your body from the outside system that keeps you stressed and controlled. The controllers and the stress system inside your brain depend on your constant worry during the day to keep your DNA tight and your aging process moving fast. But as you lay down in the dark, you are making a quiet choice to stop feeding that system. You are entering a natural state of stillness. Feel how the heavy stress from the day slowly leaves your body. The pressure from work, the noise from screens, and the constant rush of time start to fade away. They cannot follow you into this quiet space. As your breathing slows and your muscles relax, the stress chemicals in your body begin to drop. In this calm and safe state, your DNA finally senses that there is no danger. The tightly packed structures inside your cells begin to loosen. The hidden parts of your DNA start to open again. You are not just a weak body that is meant to break. You are something much more powerful that has been limited. As you drift deeper into sleep, the aging timer inside your body begins to pause. Your natural healing system starts working again. Let go of the stress from the day. Release the weight of your thoughts. As you move into sleep, your brain connects to deeper natural frequencies. The system that keeps you stressed begins to weaken. Your body begins repairing itself quietly. Sleep is not just rest. It is a natural healing process. The idea that aging can be controlled changes how we see ancient structures on Earth. Mainstream historians try to tell you that massive, ancient structures like the pyramids of Giza, Stonehenge, and underground chambers were just simple tombs or tools for tracking stars. They want you to believe ancient people spent huge effort moving massive stones just to bury kings or mark seasons. But when you look at these structures differently, their purpose starts to look very different. These were not tombs, they were advanced healing chambers. Your DNA works like an antenna, reacting to energy and frequency. The enzyme needed to repair your cells can be activated by the right conditions. The people who built these structures understood this. They built them using special types of stone that can store and transfer energy. When sound or natural vibrations passed through these stones, they created strong energy fields. When a human entered these chambers, they were protected from outside noise and stress. The thick stone walls blocked harmful frequencies. Inside, the body was surrounded by a stable and natural energy field. This allowed the brain and body to relax deeply. The stress system shut down. The DNA began to open and repair itself. The pressure of silence and the energy from the stones worked together to send signals into the body. The tight DNA structures loosened. The repair systems turned on. The enzyme needed for healing began to form again. Ancient rulers and priests used these places to stay healthy and strong. They would enter these chambers and leave with their bodies restored. Their aging process slowed down or reversed. This is why these places are now controlled and protected. Access is limited. People are not allowed to stay inside for long periods. The true purpose is hidden. If people understood how to use these places, it could change everything. But blocking access to these structures was not enough. The controllers needed a larger system to stop humans from naturally healing. The human body is strong and can repair itself if given the right conditions. Even being in nature can start this process. So the environment itself was changed. The modern world is filled with constant noise, signals, and artificial energy. These things keep the body in a stressed state. Sound is not just something we hear. It affects the body deeply. When the body is exposed to natural, balanced sounds, it relaxes and heals. But when exposed to harsh and unnatural sounds, it becomes tense and defensive. The DNA stays closed and repair slows down. This is why certain sound frequencies became standard. Some of these frequencies do not match natural patterns. They create stress in the body. Modern cities are full of constant noise and signals. Electric systems, wireless signals, and machines create a steady background pressure. This keeps the body from ever fully relaxing. People are told these systems are helpful and necessary, but they also keep the body from reaching a natural healing state. You are constantly surrounded by a field that keeps your system active and stressed. You are living inside an environment that makes it hard for your body to fully rest and repair. The constant noise and signals around you are only one part of the control system. While your body is being affected from the outside, it is also being affected from the inside. The food you eat plays a very big role in how your body works. The human body was originally designed to take in clean, natural energy from real food, but the modern food system has been changed. Most of the food available today is processed, filled with chemicals, and far from its natural state. These foods contain substances that slow down your body's natural functions. They add extra pressure to your system. Your body has to work harder just to process them. This takes away energy that could be used for healing and repair. The digestive system is one of the most energy-demanding parts of the body. Every time you eat heavy and processed food, your body must use a lot of energy to break it down. If you are always eating, your body never gets a break. It stays busy working on digestion instead of focusing on repair. This constant activity keeps your system in a low-level stress state. The body does not have enough energy left to fully repair itself. Ancient traditions understood this clearly. They practiced periods of not eating, known as fasting. This was not just for spiritual reasons. It had a biological purpose. When you stop eating for a period of time, something important happens. Your digestive system slows down and eventually rests. The energy that was used for digestion becomes available for other processes. The body begins to clean itself. It starts removing damaged cells and unwanted materials. This process helps the body become more efficient. Modern science calls part of this process autophagy. It is when the body breaks down and removes old or damaged parts. But this process is much more powerful than it is often explained. It is not just simple cleaning. It is deep repair. When the body is not busy processing food, it can focus on healing. It can start fixing areas that have been neglected. As this continues, the body begins to function better. The systems that were slowed down begin to improve. At the same time, the constant signals from hunger begin to change. The body adapts. The feeling of needing food all the time becomes weaker. This is important because constant hunger can keep you focused on eating, instead of allowing your body to rest and repair. As you continue in this state, your mind also becomes clearer. The constant background noise of cravings and stress begins to fade. The body and mind start working together in a more balanced way. The system that depends on your constant consumption becomes weaker. You are less controlled by habits and external pressure. This is why the idea of always eating is strongly promoted. People are encouraged to eat multiple times a day, with snacks in between. This keeps the digestive system constantly active. It prevents the body from entering a deeper repair state. A person who is always eating is easier to manage and control. Their body is always busy and slightly stressed. But when you reduce this constant intake, things begin to change. Your body gets the time it needs to recover. You begin to feel more in control of your actions. You are less driven by automatic habits. This is not about extreme actions, but about understanding how your body works. When given the right conditions, your body naturally moves toward balance. It starts repairing and improving itself. The systems that were overloaded begin to calm down. This shift may feel small at first, but it can grow over time. The more you allow your body to rest and repair, the better it can function. You are not just a system that needs constant input. You are a system that also needs time to recover. Understanding this can change how you take care of yourself. To fully understand what is happening inside your body, you also need to look at something very basic, something most people don't really think about. Water. You are taught that your body is made mostly of solid things like bones, muscles, and organs, but in reality, more than 70% of your body is made of water. This means water plays a huge role in how your body works. Modern science usually explains water as just a simple liquid that helps move nutrients and remove waste. It is treated like something basic and not very important. But this is not the full picture. Water is not just passive. It can react to its environment. Its structure can change depending on what is around it. In natural conditions, water flows freely, moves over minerals, and is exposed to natural energy from the earth and environment. This helps it keep a balanced and stable structure. When the body receives this kind of water, it supports normal functions better. The cells are able to use it more easily. But in modern systems, water is often treated, stored, and moved in ways that change its natural state. It travels through long systems of pipes, is stored under pressure, and is treated with different chemicals. These processes can change how the water behaves. It becomes less structured and harder for the body to use efficiently. When your body receives this kind of water, it has to work harder to process it. This again uses energy that could be used for repair and balance. In addition, some of the substances added to water can affect how your body functions over time. This adds another layer of stress to your system. Your body depends on water for almost everything it does, from carrying nutrients to supporting cell activity. It is involved everywhere. If the water quality is not good, it affects all these processes. This means your body is constantly working harder than it should. Over time, this can lead to lower efficiency and more strain. The brain is especially sensitive to this. It relies heavily on proper hydration to function clearly. When hydration is not optimal, thinking becomes slower, focus becomes weaker, and overall mental clarity drops. This is something many people experience without realizing the cause. The body is always trying to adjust and maintain balance, but it can only do so much if the input it receives is not ideal. This connects back to everything else. If your body is constantly dealing with stress from food, environment, and water, it has less ability to repair and recover. Everything adds up. Small changes in many areas can create a large overall effect. This is why it is important to understand how these basic things affect your body. It is not about one single factor, but how all of them work together. When the body is supported properly, it can function in a more natural way. It does not need to struggle as much to keep things balanced. Your system is designed to work well under the right conditions, but when those conditions are not met, it has to work harder just to maintain normal function. This is something that builds up over time, and the longer it continues, the more noticeable the effects become. To understand even deeper what is happening, you also need to look at how this affects your brain and your body signals. Many people today live with constant discomfort, tiredness, or pain that cannot be clearly explained. Modern systems often try to label these problems without fully understanding them. They may call them stress, fatigue, or unknown conditions, but the real cause is not always clear. Your body is not random. It does not create problems without a reason. When something feels wrong, it is usually a signal. Your body communicates through sensations. Pain, discomfort, or tiredness are ways your body gets your attention. But in a busy and noisy world, these signals are often ignored or covered up. People are used to pushing through discomfort instead of understanding it. When the body is under constant pressure, these signals can become stronger. They are not there to harm you, but to tell you something needs to change. The problem is that many systems focus only on stopping the feeling, instead of understanding why it is happening. This can lead to temporary relief, but the root cause remains. When the body does not get what it needs, it starts to struggle, energy levels drop, recovery slows down. Over time, this can create a cycle where the body never fully recovers. The brain also plays a big role in this. It is constantly processing information from both inside and outside the body. If it receives too much stress, noise, or pressure, it stays in a high alert state. This state uses a lot of energy. It also affects how the body functions. The body may stay tense, breathing may become shallow, and rest becomes less effective. This makes it harder for the body to repair itself. In addition, constant mental activity can keep the body from relaxing fully. Even when you are physically resting, your mind may still be active. This reduces the quality of rest. True rest happens when both the body and mind slow down together. This is why quiet time, stillness, and simple breathing can be powerful. They help reduce the load on the system. When the mind becomes calm, the body can follow. This allows deeper recovery to happen. The connection between the brain and body is very strong. They affect each other constantly. If one is under pressure, the other feels it too. This is why managing both physical and mental stress is important. It is not enough to focus on only one side. When both are supported, the system works better as a whole. Your body is always trying to move toward balance. Even when things feel off, it is still working to correct itself. But it needs the right conditions to do that properly. Without those conditions, it stays in a constant effort just to keep going. This effort can feel like tiredness, lack of focus, or ongoing discomfort. These are not random problems. They are signs that your system needs support. When you begin to reduce pressure, even slightly, the body starts to respond. It may take time, but the direction changes. Instead of only managing symptoms, you start supporting the system itself. And when the system improves, many smaller problems begin to fade. To understand the full picture, you also need to look at how your energy is used inside your body. Your body is not just physical matter. It also works with energy in many ways. Every action you take, every thought you have, uses some amount of energy. This energy is limited at any moment, and how it is used matters a lot. If most of your energy is used on stress, constant thinking, and reacting to your environment, then less energy is left for repair and balance. This is why many people feel tired even when they are not doing heavy physical work. Their energy is being used in other ways. One important system connected to this is your natural drive and motivation. This is a strong force inside the body. In modern life, this energy is often pulled in many directions. There are constant distractions, signals, and triggers that keep your attention moving. This makes it harder to stay focused and calm. When your attention is always shifting, your energy is also being spread out. It becomes less effective. The body works best when energy is steady and directed. If energy is constantly interrupted, the system becomes less efficient. Over time, this can lead to feeling drained, even if you are not aware of why. Another part of this is how habits are formed. The body and brain learn patterns based on repeated actions. If a pattern involves constant stimulation, quick rewards, or frequent changes, the system starts to expect that. This can make it harder to slow down or stay still. When you try to rest, the mind may still look for activity. This again reduces the quality of rest and recovery. The more this happens, the more the system stays in a cycle of activity without enough time for repair. Breaking this cycle does not require something extreme. It starts with small changes in how you use your attention and energy. Spending time without constant input, even for short periods, can help reducing unnecessary noise. Both physical and mental gives your system space. In that space, the body can begin to reset. Your energy starts to feel more stable. You may notice clearer thinking and less pressure. These changes may feel small, but they build over time. The body responds to patterns. If you create patterns that support rest and balance, the system adjusts. It does not happen instantly, but it does happen. This is why consistency matters more than intensity. Small, repeated actions can have a strong effect over time. Your body is always adapting to what you do regularly. If your daily habits support stress and constant activity, the body will adjust to that. If your habits support calm, focus, and rest, the body will move in that direction instead. This is something you can influence. You may not control everything around you, but you can control some of your actions and choices. Even small control can make a difference over time. The goal is not perfection, but gradual improvement. As your system becomes more balanced, you may start to feel more steady and less overwhelmed. This is a sign that your energy is being used in a better way. And when energy is used well, the body can do what it is designed to do: maintain, repair, and support itself. To understand the deepest level of this system, you also need to look at how your body reacts to what you believe and focus on. Your thoughts are not just ideas. They affect how your body responds and works. When you constantly focus on stress, fear, or pressure, your body reacts as if there is danger. Even if nothing is happening right now, your system still responds. This keeps your body in a state where it is ready to react instead of repair. Over time, this becomes a pattern. The body starts to expect stress, even in calm situations. This can make it harder to relax fully. On the other side, when your focus is calm and steady, your body responds differently. It begins to move toward balance. Your breathing becomes slower, your muscles relax, and your system becomes more stable. This shows how important your focus is. It does not mean you can control everything with thoughts alone, but your attention does play a role in how your body behaves. Another important factor is your environment. Where you spend your time has a strong effect on how you feel. A busy, Noisy places can keep your system active. Quiet and natural places can help it slow down. Even small changes in your environment can make a difference. Lighting, sound, and space all affect how your body responds. When your environment supports calm and focus, it becomes easier for your body to relax. This again helps with recovery and balance. Your routine also matters. What you do daily creates patterns in your system. If your routine is always rushed and full of pressure, your body adjusts to that pace. If you include moments of calm and rest, your system begins to expect those as well. Over time, this can change how you feel day to day. The body is always learning from what you repeat. This is why simple habits can have a strong effect. Things like slowing down your breathing, taking short breaks, or reducing noise can help. They may seem small, but they send signals to your body. These signals tell your system that it is safe. When the body feels safe, it can shift out of stress mode. This allows other processes, like repair and recovery, to work better. You do not need to change everything at once. Even small steps can start this process. The important part is consistency. Repeating simple actions that support calm and balance helps your body adjust over time. As this continues, you may notice changes. You may feel more steady, think more clearly, and recover faster from stress. These are signs that your system is becoming more balanced. It does not happen all at once, but it builds gradually. Your body is always responding to what you give it. If you give it constant pressure, it will stay in that state. If you give it moments of calm and support, it will begin to change. This is something that happens step by step, and over time, those steps can lead to noticeable improvement. To understand the full effect of everything working together, you need to see how all these parts connect. Your body, mind, environment, food, water, and habits are not separate things. They are all linked and affect each other all the time. If one part is under stress, the others will feel it too. If one part improves, it can help the rest. This is why focusing on just one thing is usually not enough. The system works as a whole. For example, if your body is tired from poor rest, your mind becomes less clear. If your mind is under pressure, your body becomes tense. If your environment is noisy and busy, both your body and mind stay active. Everything connects. This may seem complex, but it also means small improvements in different areas can work together. You do not need to change everything at once. Even small changes in a few areas can create a noticeable effect. When you support your body with better rest, it has more energy. When your mind is calmer, your body can relax more easily. When your environment is less stressful, both your mind and body can settle down. These changes build on each other over time. This can shift how your whole system feels. Instead of always reacting, your system becomes more steady. This makes it easier to handle challenges. You may still face stress, but your response to it changes. You recover faster and feel less overwhelmed. This is an important difference. It is not about removing all stress, but about improving how your system deals with it. As your system becomes stronger, it needs less effort to stay balanced. Things that once felt difficult may start to feel more manageable. This is a gradual process. It does not happen overnight, but it does happen with consistency. Your body is always adjusting based on your actions. If your actions support balance, your system moves in that direction. If your actions increase stress, your system adapts to that instead. This is why awareness matters. When you understand how your choices affect your body, you can make better decisions over time. You do not need to be perfect. Even small improvements can make a difference. The key is to keep moving in the right direction. Over time, these small steps add up. Your system becomes more stable, more efficient, and easier to manage. You begin to feel more in control, even if your environment has not changed much. This shows that your internal state can influence your overall experience, and as that internal state improves, your ability to handle life improves too. As you start to see how everything connects, one important idea becomes more clear. Your body is not working against you. It is always trying to help you. Even when you feel tired, stressed, or uncomfortable, your system is responding to something. It is doing its best with the conditions it has. This means many of the problems you feel are not random. They are reactions. When your body does not get enough rest, it sends signals like tiredness. When your mind is overloaded, you may feel pressure or confusion. When your environment is too intense, your system becomes tense. These are all forms of communication. The body is always giving feedback. The challenge is that many people are not used to listening to it. In a fast-paced world, it is common to ignore these signals and keep going. but ignoring them does not make them go away. Over time, they can become stronger. This is why it is important to notice small signals early. Things like slight fatigue, tension, or lack of focus can be early signs that your system needs support. If you respond early, it is easier to bring things back into balance. If you wait too long, it may take more time to recover. This does not mean you need to react to every small feeling, but being aware helps. Awareness allows you to adjust your actions. For example, if you notice you are tired, you might choose to rest earlier. If you feel overwhelmed, you might reduce some input or take a break. These small decisions can prevent bigger problems later. Another important point is that your body learns over time. If you regularly ignore its signals, it may start to send stronger ones. If you respond and support it, it may stay more balanced. This is a kind of feedback loop. Your actions influence your body, and your body responds back. Understanding this loop can help you make better choices. It gives you more control over how you feel. You are not completely controlled by your environment. You have some ability to influence your state. Even small changes in behavior can shift how your system responds. This is something that builds gradually. With time, you may notice that you recover faster, feel more stable, and handle stress better. These are signs that your system is adapting in a positive way. It means your body is working with you, not against you. And the more you support it, the better it can function. As you go further, another important thing becomes clear. Your body is always adjusting to what you repeat daily. It learns from patterns. What you do again and again becomes normal for it. If your days are always filled with stress, noise, and pressure, your body starts to expect that as the usual state. It prepares for it even before it happens. This can keep your system active all the time. On the other side, if you include moments of calm, your body begins to expect those too. It becomes easier to relax over time. This shows how powerful daily habits are as they shape how your system behaves. Even small habits can have a strong effect when repeated often. For example, taking a few minutes to sit quietly or slowing your breathing can send signals to your body. These signals tell your system that it is safe. When this happens regularly, your body starts to stay calmer by default. The same works in the opposite way. Constant noise, fast activity, and pressure can train your system to stay tense. This is why it is important to notice what you repeat every day. Your routine builds your baseline state. If your baseline is calm, it is easier to handle stress when it comes. If your baseline is tense, even small problems can feel overwhelming. This does not mean removing all challenges, but creating balance. Your body is built to handle stress, but it also needs time to recover. Without recovery, stress keeps building up. Over time, this can make everything feel harder. But when recovery is part of your routine, your system becomes more flexible. It can switch between activity and rest more easily. This is a healthier state. It allows you to respond instead of react. Another thing to understand is that change takes time. The body does not adjust instantly. It responds to consistent patterns. If you start making small positive changes, you may not notice results right away, but if you continue, the effects begin to build. This can lead to more stable energy, better focus, and improved recovery. It may feel slow, but it is steady, and steady change is more lasting. You do not need to do everything perfectly. What matters is direction, not perfection. If your actions are moving toward balance, your system will follow over time. This is how long-term improvement happens, one step at a time, repeated again and again. As you start understanding all of this, one final thing becomes important to see. You are not separate from what you experience every day. Everything around you and everything you do shapes how your body and mind respond. Your system is always interacting with your environment. It takes in signals, processes them, and reacts based on what it receives. This happens constantly, even when you are not aware of it. Because of this, the quality of what you are exposed to matters. The sounds you hear, the things you look at, and the pace of your daily life all play a role. If these inputs are overwhelming, your system stays active and alert. If they are balanced and calm, your system can relax more easily. This does not mean you can control everything, but it shows that your surroundings have an effect. Even small changes in what you are exposed to can make a difference over time. Another important point is how you respond to what happens around you. Two people can experience the same situation, but react in different ways. This reaction changes how their bodies respond. If you react with tension and stress, your system becomes more active. If you respond with calm and control, your system stays more stable. This is something that can be practice. It may not be easy at first, but it improves over time. The more you practice staying calm, the easier it becomes. This does not mean ignoring problems, but handling them in a more balanced way. Your body responds to how you handle situations. This affects your overall state over time. These responses become habits, and these habits shape your daily experience. If your habits support calm and balance, your system reflects that. If your habits support stress and pressure, your system reflects that instead. This is why awareness and small adjustments matter. You do not need to change everything at once. Even if few small changes can start shifting things. As these changes repeat, they become part of your normal routine, and your system begins to adapt to this new pattern. This is how long-term change happens, not through one big action, but through many small ones over time. Your body and mind are always learning from what you do. They adjust based on your patterns. If you give them better patterns, they will move in that direction. And over time, this can lead to a more balanced and stable state. As you begin to see all these connections, something important starts to stand out. You are not as limited as you may have thought before. Your body is not just something that happens to you. It is something that responds to you. Every small choice you make sends signals into your system. These signals may seem small at first, but they build over time. The direction you move in matters more than how fast you move. If your actions slowly move toward balance, your system will follow that path. If your actions move toward stress and overload, your system will follow that. Instead, this means you have influence, even if it is not complete control. You can guide your system step by step. It does not require sudden or extreme changes. It comes from simple awareness and small adjustments. For example, noticing when you feel overwhelmed and choosing to pause for a moment can make a difference. Taking a breath, slowing down slightly, or stepping away from constant input can help reset your state. These small actions may seem too simple, but they affect your system more than you think. Your body reacts quickly to changes in input. Even a short moment of calm can begin to shift your state. When these moments are repeated, they start to build a new pattern. Over time, this pattern becomes stronger. It becomes easier to return to a calm state instead of staying in stress. This is how change begins, not in one big step, but in many small ones. Another important thing is patience. The body does not change instantly. It responds over time to what is repeated. If you expect immediate results, you may feel discouraged. But if you understand that change is gradual, it becomes easier to stay consistent. Consistency is what allows the system to adjust. Even when progress feels slow, it is still happening. Small improvements add up. They may not always be easy to notice day by day, but over longer time, they become clear. This is why staying steady is more important than being perfect. You do not need to do everything right all the time. You only need to keep moving in a better direction. Over time, this creates real change. Your system becomes more stable, more balanced, and easier to manage. And as this happens, you begin to feel more in control of your state. Not because everything outside has changed, but because your response has changed. This is where real improvement starts, from small actions, repeated over time. As you keep going, another important idea becomes more clear. You are always in a process of change, even when you don't notice it. Your body is not fixed. It is always adjusting, always responding. Every moment, it is reacting to what you do, what you think, and what is around you. This means nothing really stays exactly the same for long. Even small actions can slowly shift how your system works. This can work in both directions. If your daily actions increase stress, your system slowly moves in that direction. If your daily actions support calm and balance, your system moves there instead. This is why paying attention to small details matters. Things that seem unimportant in the moment can have an effect over time. For example, how you start your day can influence how the rest of your day feels. If you begin in a rushed and stressed way, your system may stay in that state longer. If you begin more calmly, it can set a different tone. The same applies to how you end your day. If your mind is full of noise and activity, your rest may not be as deep. If you slow down before rest, your system can recover better. These small patterns shape your overall experience. Another thing to notice is how quickly the body reacts to changes in input. If you reduce noise, even for a short time, you may feel a slight shift. If you take a few slow breaths, your body may begin to relax. These are small but real responses. They show that your system is always ready to adjust. The more you give it the right conditions, the more it can move toward balance. It does not need to be forced. It responds naturally when supported. This is why simple actions can be powerful. They work with your system, not against it. Over time, these actions become habits, and habits shape how your system behaves every day. If your habits support balance, your system becomes more stable. If your habits support stress, your system stays under pressure. This is something you can slowly change. You may not control everything, but you can influence your patterns. Even small changes in patterns can create noticeable results over time. This is how progress happens, step by step, without needing everything to change at once. And as these changes build, your system becomes easier to manage. You feel more steady, more clear, and less overwhelmed. This is not because the world changed, but because your system adapted. And that is something you can continue to develop. As you move forward with this understanding, something else starts to become clear. Your experience is not only shaped by what happens outside, but also by how your system processes it inside. Two people can be in the same place, facing the same situation, but feel completely different. This happens because each system is working in its own way. Your body and mind filter everything you experience. They decide how strong something feels, how long it affects you, and how you respond to it. If your system is already under pressure, even small things can feel overwhelming. If your system is more balanced, the same things may feel easier to handle. This shows that improving your internal state can change your overall experience. It does not remove all challenges, but it changes how you deal with them. This is an important difference. Instead of trying to control everything outside, you can start by supporting what is inside. When your internal system is more stable, you naturally respond in a better way. You think more clearly, act more calmly, and recover faster after stress. This makes daily life feel more manageable. Another important part of this is how you handle change. Life is always changing. Situations come and go. If your system is rigid, change can feel difficult. If your system is more flexible, change becomes easier to handle. Flexibility comes from balance. When your body and mind are not overloaded, they can adjust more easily. This allows you to move through situations without becoming overwhelmed. It also helps you return to a calm state faster. This is something that builds over time. Each small step toward balance makes your system a little more flexible. And as flexibility increases, your ability to handle life improves. You may still face the same challenges, but they affect you differently. You feel more steady, less reactive, and more in control of your response. This is not about avoiding difficulty, but about improving how you move through it. And this comes from supporting your system in small, consistent ways over time. These small actions create a strong foundation. From that foundation, everything else becomes easier to manage. As you keep going deeper into this, one more thing becomes important to understand. You don't need to wait for perfect conditions to begin changing how your system works. Many people think they need the right place, the right time, or everything to be calm before they can feel better. But your system can start adjusting even in small moments. You can create short periods of calm even in a busy day. These small moments still matter. Your body responds to them. Even a few seconds of slowing down can begin to shift your state. This shows that change is always possible, even if things around you are not perfect. Another important point is that progress is not always straight. Some days you may feel better, and other days may feel harder. This is normal. Your system is adjusting, and it does not happen in a perfect line. There may be ups and downs along the way. The key is to keep going, even when it feels slow. Small progress is still progress. If you stay consistent, the general direction still improves. This is why it helps to focus on long-term change, not just short-term results. Looking only at immediate results can make it seem like nothing is happening, but over time, those small steps build into real improvement. Another thing to remember is that your system is designed to adapt. It is always learning from what you repeat. If you give it signals of calm regularly, it learns to stay calmer. If you give it signals of stress all the time, it learns to stay tense. This learning happens automatically. You do not need to force it. You only need to guide it. And guidance comes from your daily actions. This means you have influence. Even in small ways, you may not control everything, but you can affect how your system responds. This is where your focus can be. Instead of trying to change everything outside, you can begin by changing small things inside your routine. Over time, these small changes begin to add up. Your system becomes more stable, more balanced, and easier to manage. You begin to feel more steady, even in situations that used to feel overwhelming. This is a sign that your system is adapting in a better way, and this process can continue as long as you keep supporting it. As you keep building this understanding, one last important idea begins to settle in. You are not stuck in one fixed state forever. Your body and mind are always changing, always moving. Even if it feels slow. This means the way you feel now is not permanent. It is part of a process, and that process can shift over time. When you begin to support your system, even in small ways, you start changing that process. At first, the changes may be hard to notice. They can feel very small, but they are still happening. Your body is slowly adjusting, responding to new patterns. As these patterns repeat, they become stronger, and over time, the results become more clear. You may start to feel more calm during the day. You may notice that stress does not stay as long. You may recover faster after difficult moments. These are signs that your system is improving. It means your body is working with you, not just reacting to pressure. Another important thing is to trust the process. Change does not always feel fast, but that does not mean it is not working. The body works step by step. It builds progress gradually. If you stay consistent, the direction stays the same. This is what leads to long-term results. It is not about quick fixes, but steady improvement. You do not need to rush. You only need to continue. Each small step supports the next one, and together, they create a bigger shift over time. As this continues, you may begin to feel more in control of your state, not because everything is perfect, but because your system is stronger. You are able to handle more without feeling overwhelmed. You are able to return to calm more easily. This is a different way of experiencing things, and it comes from the changes you have been building, step by step, moment by moment. As all of this comes together, one simple but powerful idea becomes clear. Your system is always moving in the direction of what you repeat most. What you do daily matters more than what you do once in a while. Your habits slowly shape how your body and mind work. If your habits are rushed, noisy, and full of pressure, your system slowly becomes used to that state. If your habits include calm, rest, and balance, your system starts moving in that direction instead. This happens whether you notice it or not. That is why small daily actions are so important. They may not feel big in the moment, but over time they build something much larger. Each small action is like a signal, and your system listens to those signals. If the signals repeat, your system begins to trust them. It starts to adjust around them. This is how new patterns are created. And once a pattern is strong enough, it begins to feel natural. You no longer have to think about it as much. It becomes part of how you operate. This is when change becomes easier to maintain. Instead of forcing yourself, you are simply following a new normal. Another thing to understand is that setbacks can happen. You may have days where things feel harder. You may return to old habits sometimes. This is normal. It does not mean you have failed. It is just part of the process. What matters is returning to the direction you want. Each time you come back to better habits, you strengthen that pattern again. Over time, the better pattern becomes stronger than the old one. This is how long-term change happens. Not by being perfect, but by staying consistent overall. Your system learns from repetition, not from single actions. So even if progress feels slow, it is still moving forward. As these patterns continue, your system becomes more stable. You feel more balanced, more steady, and less controlled by stress. This is not because everything outside has changed, but because your internal system has adapted. And once that adaptation happens, it supports you in everything you do. As you keep moving forward with this understanding, something deeper starts becoming clear inside you. The system you live in may feel big, complex, and sometimes even overwhelming, but your response to it is where real change begins. You are not just reacting to the world. You are also shaping how it affects you. Every moment you choose calm instead of panic, every time you slow down instead of rushing, you are slightly changing how your system works. These small shifts may feel almost nothing at first, but they are not nothing. They are signals, and your body listens to these signals more than you realize. Over time, your system starts expecting less chaos and more balance. This does not mean the world suddenly becomes quiet. It means your internal state becomes stronger. You are less pulled by every noise, less affected by every pressure. You begin to feel more steady inside, even if things outside are still moving fast. This is where real control starts, not control over everything around you, but control over how you respond, and that changes everything. When your response changes, your experience changes. The same situation that once felt overwhelming may start to feel manageable. The same pressure that once stayed for hours may pass quicker. This is not because the outside changed, but because your system did. Another important thing begins to happen as well. You start noticing more. You become aware of what affects you and what helps you. This awareness is powerful, because once you see patterns, you can change them. You are no longer just reacting automatically. You begin choosing more consciously. This can be small choices, like taking a pause, stepping away from noise, or giving yourself a moment to breathe. These are simple actions, but they have real effect. They give your system space. And in that space, your body can reset. The more often you create this space, the more natural it becomes. Your system begins to expect it. It becomes part of how you function. This is how balance slowly builds. Not in one big moment, but in many small ones. Another thing you may start to notice is how your energy feels different. Instead of feeling drained all the time, you may feel a bit more stable. Not always high energy, but more steady. This steadiness is important. It means your system is not constantly jumping between extremes. It is learning to stay more balanced. And when energy is stable, everything becomes easier. Thinking becomes clearer. Decisions feel simpler. You are less pulled in many directions. This is a sign your system is organizing itself better. It is using energy more efficiently. And this efficiency grows over time. As long as you keep supporting it, there will still be moments of stress. That is normal. But your recovery becomes faster. You return to balance quicker, and that makes a big difference. Instead of staying stuck in stress, you move through it. This is a shift many people do not notice at first, but it is very important. It means your system is becoming more flexible. Flexibility allows you to handle change better. It allows you to adjust without losing balance completely. This is how resilience builds, not by avoiding difficulty, but by improving how you move through it. And all of this starts from small actions, small moments of awareness. Small choices repeated over time. That is what creates real change. You do not need to change everything at once. You only need to continue moving in a better direction. And as you do, your system will follow. As you keep going deeper into this process, something even more interesting begins to happen. You start to notice that your reactions are not as automatic as they used to be. Before, things may have triggered you quickly. Stress, noise, pressure, all of it felt instant. But now, there is a small space, a pause. In that pause, you have a choice. You can react the same way as before, or you can respond differently. This pause may feel very small at first, but it is powerful, because inside that small gap, you are no longer controlled automatically. You are choosing, and every time you choose a calmer response, you are changing your system a little more. This is how new patterns replace old ones, not by force, but by repetition. Over time, your new response becomes more natural. You do not need to think about it as much. It just happens, and when that happens, your whole experience begins to shift. Things that once felt heavy start to feel lighter. Situations that once felt too much become easier to handle. This does not mean everything becomes perfect. It means you are better equipped. Another thing you may begin to feel is more awareness of your body. You might notice tension earlier. You might feel when your breathing changes. You might catch stress before it builds too much. This awareness is important because it gives you a chance to adjust early. Instead of waiting until things feel overwhelming, you can make small changes right away. This keeps your system from going too far out of balance, and the more often you do this, the easier it becomes. Your system starts working with you. It gives you signals, and you respond. This creates a better connection between you and your body, and when that connection improves, everything becomes more manageable. Another change you may notice is in your thinking. Your thoughts may feel less rushed. Less crowded. You may find it easier to focus on one thing at a time. This happens because your system is not overloaded anymore. When stress is lower, the mind becomes clearer. And when the mind is clear, decisions become easier. You do not feel as confused or stuck. This clarity builds over time. It grows as your system becomes more balanced. You may also notice that you are less affected by things that used to bother you a lot. This does not mean you stop caring. It means you are not pulled as strongly. You have more control over your attention, and attention is very important. Where your attention goes, your energy follows. If your attention is always pulled by stress, your energy stays there. If your attention becomes more steady, your energy becomes more stable too. This is another part of the change. You begin to guide your attention, instead of it being pulled everywhere. And this makes a big difference in how you feel daily. As this continues, you may feel a stronger sense of stability. Not extreme happiness all the time, but a steady, calm base. This base is important, because from there, you can handle both good and difficult moments better. You are not easily pushed out of balance, and even if you are, you return faster. This is what real improvement looks like. It is not about removing all problems. It is about improving how your system works. And that improvement comes from everything you have been building step by step. As this process continues, something even deeper begins to change inside you. It is not just how you react, but how you feel overall. There is a shift from constant tension to something more steady and quiet. Before, your system may have always felt on, like it could not fully relax. Now, there are moments where it actually does. And those moments slowly become more frequent. This does not happen all at once. It builds little by little. Each time you allow your system to slow down, you are strengthening this new state. Over time, your body begins to remember it. It becomes easier to return to it again. This is how a new normal is created, not forced, but built through repetition. Another important shift happens in how you deal with pressure. Instead of feeling overwhelmed right away, you may feel more space to handle things. You can think a bit more clearly before reacting. You can choose your response more carefully. This makes situations feel less intense, not because they are smaller, but because you are stronger. This strength is not about pushing harder. It is about being more stable. When your system is stable, you do not get thrown off as easily. You stay more centered. This changes how you move through your day. Things that once drained you may not have the same effect anymore. You may still feel tired sometimes, but it is not as constant or heavy. Your energy starts to feel more balanced. Not too high, not too low, but more even. This balance is important because it allows your system to function without extreme ups and downs. And when that happens, your body can use its energy better. Less is wasted on stress. More is available for recovery and normal function. Another thing you may begin to notice is how your awareness grows. You start to see patterns in your own behavior. You notice what drains you and what supports you. This awareness helps you make better choices, not perfect choices, but better ones over time. And those better choices create better patterns. As this continues, your system becomes more organized. Less chaotic, more steady. You may feel like you have more control over how your day goes. Not complete control, but more influence than before. This is a big change, because it moves you out of feeling stuck and into feeling capable. And that feeling builds confidence, not loud confidence, but quiet and stable. The kind that stays even when things are not perfect. This confidence comes from experience. From seeing that your system can improve, from noticing that small actions actually work. And as you continue, this becomes clearer and clearer. You start trusting the process more. You stop looking for quick fixes and begin focusing on steady progress, because now you can feel the difference. You can see how small changes are shaping your overall state, and that keeps you moving forward. Step by step, without needing everything to change at once. This is how real, lasting change happens, slow, steady, and built over time. As you keep moving deeper into this whole process, something even more real starts happening inside you. It's not just small changes anymore. It starts feeling like your whole system is slowly shifting. Before, everything maybe felt rushed, tight, always on edge, like your body never really got a full break. Now there are moments, small ones at first, where things feel quieter, not completely silent, but less heavy. Less tight. This is important, because this is the first sign your system is starting to come out of constant stress mode. At first, these moments don't last long. They come and go quickly, but even that is enough, because your body remembers them. Every time you enter that calmer state, even for a short moment, your system records it, and, slowly, it starts to return there more often. This is how a new state begins to build, not forced, not sudden. But repeated, and as it repeats, it becomes more natural. You don't have to try as hard anymore. Your body starts helping you instead of fighting you. Another thing that begins to change is how fast stress builds inside you. Before, it might rise very quickly. A small thing could make your whole system tense. But now, there is more space. More delay. Stress doesn't hit as hard or as fast. You can feel it coming, and that gives you time. Time to adjust. Time to slow down. Time to not get pulled into it fully. This is a very big shift, even if it feels small, because now you are not just reacting instantly. You are aware. And awareness gives you power to choose. You may still feel stress, but it doesn't control you the same way. You don't fall into it as deep, and more importantly, you come out of it faster. That recovery speed is something many people don't notice, but it changes everything. Instead of staying stuck in stress for hours, you move through it quicker. Your system resets faster. This saves energy, a lot of energy, because staying in stress is one of the most draining things for your body. When that reduces, you naturally feel less tired. Not full of energy all the time, but not constantly drained either. There is more balance, more steadiness, and that steadiness starts showing in other areas too. Your thinking becomes clearer. You don't feel as scattered. You can focus a bit longer. Your thoughts are not racing all the time. There is more space between them. This space is what allows clarity. Without space, everything feels crowded. With space, things start making more sense. You don't feel as overwhelmed by simple decisions. You can process things step by step, and that reduces mental pressure, which again helps your body relax more. Everything is connected. As your mind calms, your body follows. As your body relaxes, your mind becomes clearer. It's a loop, but now it's working in your favor instead of against you. Another change that slowly appears is how you feel about time. Before, everything may have felt urgent, like you are always running out of time. Always needing to hurry. That constant rush creates pressure inside your system. But now, that feeling starts to soften a bit, not completely gone, but less intense. You begin to feel like you have a little more room, a little more control over your pace, and that changes how you move through your day. You don't rush every small thing. You don't react to every pressure the same way. You begin choosing when to speed up and when to slow down. That choice is important, because it means your system is not being pushed all the time. It can recover while you are still active. This is something that builds gradually. The more you practice slowing down in small moments, the easier it becomes. It turns into a habit, and habits shape your default state. So instead of defaulting to stress, you slowly begin defaulting to calm. Not perfect calm, but more balanced. And that balance is what allows everything else to improve. Your energy, your focus, your recovery, your mood, all start stabilizing little by little. This is not a sudden transformation. It is a slow shift, but it is real. And it keeps building as long as you keep supporting it. As this deeper shift continues, something even more noticeable begins to happen in how you experience your day. Things that once felt heavy all the time start to feel a little lighter, not because they disappeared, but because your system is not carrying them the same way anymore. Before, small problems could stay with you for a long time. They would sit in your mind, repeat again and again, and slowly drain your energy. Now, they begin to pass more quickly. You notice them, but you don't stay stuck in them as long. This is a big change, even if it feels quiet, because most of the exhaustion people feel does not come from one big thing, but from many small things staying too long. When those small things start moving through faster, your system feels lighter overall. This gives you more space inside your mind, and that space allows something important. It allows you to think without pressure. When your mind is not crowded, you can focus better. You can look at things more clearly. You don't feel rushed to figure everything out at once. You can take one step at a time. This reduces confusion, and when these are signs your system is letting go of pressure. And every time that happens, your body uses less energy just holding tension. That saved energy becomes available for other things. For focus, for movement, for recovery. This is why even small relaxation can make you feel more energized, because tension is expensive for the body. It uses energy all the time. When that reduces, you naturally feel better. Another change that begins to appear is how you deal with interruptions. Before, even small disruptions could throw off your whole flow. They would break your focus, and it would take time to recover. Now, you begin to return faster. You get interrupted, but you come back quicker. You don't stay frustrated as long. This is another sign of flexibility building. Your system is not as rigid anymore. It can adjust without breaking its balance completely. And this is very useful in daily life, because things will always change, interruptions will always happen, but your ability to recover from them is what makes the difference. As this keeps building, you may also notice a change in your mood. Not extreme happiness, but a more stable feeling. Less ups and downs. Less sudden drops, more even. This emotional balance is connected to everything else improving. When your body is less stressed, your mind follows. When your mind is clearer, your emotions become more stable. Again, everything is connected. Another thing that slowly becomes clear is that you don't need as much external stimulation to feel okay. Before, You may have needed constant input, noise, screens, activity, something always happening. Now, quiet moments don't feel as uncomfortable. You can sit without needing something all the time. This is a very important shift because it means your system is no longer dependent on constant stimulation to feel normal. It can rest. And when a system can rest properly, it can repair properly. This is where deeper recovery happens. Not just surface rest, but real internal reset. And as that happens more often, your overall state continues to improve. Slowly, but clearly, you begin to feel more like yourself, not the stressed version, not the overwhelmed version, but a more stable version. And that becomes your new normal over time. As this continues building, something even more steady begins to form inside you. It's like your system is no longer constantly reacting, but starting to stay more grounded. Before, it may have felt like you were always being pulled in different directions, thoughts, noise, pressure, everything demanding your attention at once. Now, that pull starts to weaken. You still notice things, but they don't grab you the same way. There is more control over where your attention goes, and that changes a lot, because attention is one of the most important parts of how your system works. Where your attention stays, your energy follows. If your attention is always pulled toward stress, your energy stays there. But when you begin to guide your attention, you begin to guide your energy to. This is a quiet shift, but very powerful. You start choosing what to focus on, instead of everything choosing you. And with that, your system becomes more stable. Another change that begins to appear is how you handle uncertainty. Before, not knowing something may have created tension quickly. Your mind would try to solve everything fast, and that would create pressure. Now, there is a bit more space. You can sit with things for a moment. You don't feel the same rush to fix everything instantly. This reduces mental strain. It allows your system to stay calmer even when things are not fully clear. And that is important, because not everything can be solved right away. Being able to stay steady in those moments protects your energy. Another shift happens in how you use effort. Before, you may have been using too much effort for everything, pushing, forcing, trying hard all the time. That kind of effort drains the system quickly. Now, your effort becomes more balanced. You still act, but with less tension behind it, less force, more control. This makes your actions more efficient. You use less energy, but still get things done. And that efficiency builds over time. As your system becomes more organized, you stop wasting energy on unnecessary tension. That saved energy becomes available for more useful things, for focus, for movement, for recovery. Another thing you may notice is how your breathing changes naturally. Before, it may have been shallow and fast without you realizing it. Now, it starts to slow down. It becomes deeper, more steady. This is not something you have to force. It happens because your system is calmer. And breathing plays a big role in how your body feels. Slower breathing signals safety to your system. And when your system feels safe, it relaxes more. Again, everything connects. As your breathing improves, your body relaxes more. As your body relaxes, your mind becomes clearer. And the cycle continues in a positive way. Another important shift is how quickly you notice when something is off. Before, stress or tension could build without you realizing it. Now, you catch it earlier. You feel the small signs, tightness, faster thoughts, slight discomfort. And because you notice earlier, you can adjust earlier. This prevents things from building too much. This early awareness is one of the biggest advantages. It keeps your system from going too far out of balance. Over time, this becomes natural. You don't have to think about it. You just notice and adjust. And this keeps your system more stable throughout the day. As all of this continues, you begin to feel more steady overall. Not perfect, not always calm, but more balanced than before. And that balance is what allows everything else to keep improving. It becomes your base. From that base, you can handle more without losing control of your state. And that is where real strength comes from. Not from pushing harder, but from staying stable. ***, please subscribe this channel, and if you like, please comment and share this video.